Hello and welcome to another Draft Gym TV. As always, you are joined by me, Andy, FPL Teach Mode, and we are going to start thinking about Game Week 2 and the monster in Game Week 2. You can see that I'm doing some window capturing tonight, so you can see that I actually started showing you some of the my YouTube in the background, but there you go. I'm trying it a little bit differently tonight, trying some window capture, so let me know whether you like it or not. So we're going to be starting to think about Game Week 2, the monster, because obviously it's coming around thick and fast now, isn't it? It's brilliant as well because of the championship football, so we can actually start midweek having a bit of championship football, which is nice as well, doing the monsters in those two, which is great stuff. As always, I'm here from Draft Gym. I will show you some of the things on the Draft Gym website today because it's fantastic, the stuff we're getting out. We've also got some more stuff that's going to be coming out in the next couple of days to prepare you for the monster as well as this stream. So we really do have you covered. Rich P is in the chat saying Hub. He works for Hub. He tells us all the time. Evening, Rich. Obviously, as well, make sure you like and subscribe. We had a bit of a good week from Draft Gym. So in the last monster, I came 10th. I won around 500 quid. And Alexi, who is our guy from Siberia, who is amazing with his stacks, he came third. So won himself about £1,500, I think. So not bad from him either. If you're in the chat, make sure you say hello. Say hello to anybody that's in the chat and to me as well, because I'd love to see that you are in there. So Game Week 2, we're going to get onto that in a minute. Before we do, though, I just want to have a quick look at some amazing things that we've got on our website. FPL Tips is in the chat. Oh, hi. Hi, mate. Lovely seeing you at Fest, by the way, as well. And Course in the chat. Oi, oi. The first thing I wanted to show you was this article by Rob Pick. He is doing this every single week. Domingas is in the chat as well. Oi, 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 mate. Really, really good. If this is your first time playing FanTeam and you're doing the season-long game, you're doing the monsters. Daniel Curtis in the chat as well. Evening, mate. Really, really good. It's a rookie blog that he's doing, and he's basically recording all of his lessons that he learns while he's doing it. And I think it's brilliant. I genuinely think it's such a good idea. It's such a good idea to follow somebody else that's making mistakes, and you can see how he's making mistakes and you can make sure you don't do them as well. So that is genuinely, I think it's a really, really good way of learning the game. We've also got, I'm going to plug my own stuff here, essential late registration picks. So late registration is a really good thing to do for season long. I think it is a genuine tactic to do late registration, and I have picked out some players there that you can have in your team that maybe others won't. And you can see one of them there, my main pick, Kevin De Bruyne, because a lot of people won't have him. And if you can get him in and you know he's going to start against Norwich, then he's a great one to get in there. So make sure you do have a look at that. It was written by me, so you know it's going to be good. And then we've also got one other thing I wanted to show you from FPL Pup. And that is a captaincy question, Salah or Bruno. I mean, that is what everybody's talking about this week. So it is worth having a look at that one. And he just kind of looks at the data and looks to see whether we can take anything from the data to help us in this. I really like Pup's work. He's a real stats man, so it's worth having a look at. FPL Elf is in the chat. Evening, mate. Teach me, Andy. I'll try and teach you, Dave. Rich says Elf is well. Glorious. I know he's a lovely man, isn't he? He's trying his best with these monsters as well, but I'm not sure he's committing to it as much as he should be at the moment. Now, you can see we've obviously got our window capture screen on this side, which I'm going to try tonight, so let me know what you think of it. We've also got our player list down below. That player list should be scrolling through all the different, there we are, look, all the different top captaincies, my top stacks, and then all the most expensive players. And then at the very bottom, we also have the odds as well. Now, one thing I am going to... Oh, FPL Ferrell's in the chat. Evening. Nice to see you at Fest as well. One thing that I am going to start doing every week is I'm going to start showing you our cheat sheet. Now, our cheat sheet here, it will tell us about which teams we're expecting clean sheets from, which teams we're expecting wins from, and also which team we're expecting goals from as well. Now, before we do anything else, if we have a quick look at the fixtures... You're having a sneak peek at one of my teams here, by the way. If we have a quick look at one of the fixtures, there we are, they're on the side there. So, the fixtures this week, we have got Man City against Norwich. Really, really important, by the way, I should say this. Man City against Norwich. You will know the lineup before you have to lock in your monster. Do not leave it and then an hour before, don't touch it again. Make sure you look at the Man City lineup. It is incredibly important to do that this week. It's not often we get Man City being one of the games where we can know the lineup and then lock in. They are one of the teams, though, if you can do that, you're going to get the most benefit from it. And there are going to be teams, I would say there's going to be about 30% of teams in this slate where we're not going to know, or they're not going to know what the lineup is, and they'll lock in and won't change it. So make sure you know what the team is. So we've got Man City, Norwich, we've got Villa, Newcastle. Obviously, Man City is the big one, isn't it? I think Norwich are, as decimals in the odds, I think they're up to 29 in terms of how likely it is they're going to win. So yeah, Man City, we need to be targeting quite heavily. Villa, Newcastle, I think could be quite a high-scoring game, but I think you'd back Villa a little bit there. Bricky's in the chat as well. Jeez, we got everybody in the chat tonight. Crystal Palace, Brentford. We're going to talk about those a little bit later, and I know Alexi's going to touch on those with his Siberian stacks later as well. I think Crystal Palace could... I think Brentford are going to be a team that are very overhyped after their win against Arsenal. It could be that Palace get their first win of the season this week. Leeds against Everton, I think, is going to be an interesting game. It's quite close as well, especially with the odds there. Brighton, Watford, I feel like Brighton could do something against Watford this week. Watford kind of capitulated a little bit towards the end of the game, but still got the win against Villa. So I think Brighton could be a nice little stack we could go for. Southampton, Manchester United, I think you've got to be backing Manchester United in that one, really, haven't you? Southampton's defence looks awful at the moment. Arsenal, Chelsea, again, I think you're going to be backing Chelsea in that one. And then West Ham, Leicester, I think it's a tough game to call, West Ham, Leicester. You probably edge towards West Ham because they seem to have that attacking impetus at the moment, and Leicester maybe taking a while to get going, but we'll see how we get on with those. Now, before I do any of those, though, I want to bring you back to our cheat sheet. So, top of the pile here, probably rightly so as well, is Man City. Corf FPL is asking, what's your best chatter blind? Chuck them in the chat. What's your best chatter blinds? If you can involve some kind of FanTeam or FPL in there as well, that'd be lovely. So, Man City top of the pile there, 90% chance of winning, 60% chance of a clean sheet, and expected to get over 3 goals in this game as well. They are expensive, though. They are so expensive in this monster. They're worth it. I think if you've got one, you've got to captain one. And the stack, if you're going to have a 3-man stack in this, it's going to be tough to get everybody else in your team looking good. Liverpool obviously aren't in this one, but then Manchester United, 61% chance of winning, 42% chance for clean sheet, and scoring a roughly 2 goals. So for me, what I have done this week is I have split. So I've got 4 entries. I'm going to have 4 entries every week. I have split. I've got 2 entries with Man City and I've got 2 entries with Manchester United in. I think managers that are trying to get both Man City and Man United in are going to struggle because it's going to be too much money. They're not going to focus on just one team. And I just don't feel like it's the way to do it. I feel like you need to fade one and you need to attack another. I've probably been a little bit reserved. I've only gone with 2 as a stack for Man City because they're so expensive. You're using about 28 million on 2 players. So I've kind of gone for that route. But I can understand if some people maybe want to go whole hog with Man City. That's absolutely fine. FPL Elf's gone, I'm like Clint Eastwood, except I won't make your day. I'll make your whole week. Jesus Christ. That's nothing to do with FanTeam or FPL. Right. Aston Villa very high up there as well. People are expecting Aston Villa to have a good game against Newcastle. Chelsea, considering they're playing against Arsenal and they're away to Arsenal as well, 55% chance for a win, 45% chance for a clean sheet. I think Chelsea may be overlooked this week and they're quite nicely priced. The only problem is I don't think we're going to know the lineup before because I don't think they are playing in... No, they're playing later on, so they're playing on the Sunday. So we won't know their lineup, which is a bit of a shame. But they are worth investing in, I think. Also, we'll talk about safety nets later a bit more too because I think you can invest in these players knowing that you'll get that safety net so you can go a little bit more risky. Leeds and Everton, you can see, are so close there. They're so close in that table as well. Brighton, I think, could be somebody to look at, but I'm not a massive fan of Brighton because they never seem to score a lot of goals. So, and they're also quite weak on the with set pieces. So I always struggle to invest in Brighton, but they are one of the stacks that I've looked at this week. And then you got West Ham and Leicester that are incredibly close as well. So if you can call one of those right, then you're going to be loving life. But we're going to have a little bit of a look as we go on. But yeah, so that is our cheat sheet for this week, which I quite like. Now, they're quite liking Nelf's little chat-up line there. Rich P says, you'd still go for City players in a late registration team, despite City still not having great fixtures. I think I would because people aren't going to be on them. And that's what I like the most about them. I like the fact that they're not going to be in many teams. So someone like Kevin De Bruyne, people knew he wasn't going to play the first week. He's not going to be in many teams. He's definitely not going to be captain in many teams. So I feel like that's quite a nice little differential you can go with. If you've got somebody like De Bruyne or even Kane, who, if you're doing a late registration, I mean, you're not going to be going for Kane this week, but if you can try and get your route to Kane and having De Bruyne as well, I mean, that's lovely, isn't it? It's tough because obviously Salah and Bruno are so expensive, and are you really going to go without them? No, but if you can try and get a team with De Bruyne, Salah and Bruno in, I mean, you're going to be laughing, aren't you? And then if Salah maybe goes away and Salah has Chelsea in game week 3 and then maybe doesn't play game week 4, you can maybe ditch Salah to try and get Kane into your team or Lukaku into your team. Lukaku is somebody I mentioned in my article as well. I would love to be able to start with him now. Is he definitely going to start for Chelsea in that game? No. Are you going to know the lineup before the Monster? No. But he's somebody you can start having a look at, definitely. Right, so let's have a look at some of my entries. And yes, you can see my little bankroll there. Yes, I know. I was trying my hardest to blank that out, but I can't, unfortunately. It does follow me around as well. So I have got, if we have a look at my entries, I have got 4 entries in my... If for the Monsters this week, I will always have 4. Sometimes I'll have a little bit more, depending on how I got on the week before. So let's have a look at my first entry. They're all slightly similar and all slightly different as well. So in this one, I have got a little bit of a City stack, which is, like I said, I haven't gone for 3 because they're so expensive. If I go on change team, you can also see their prices then, I believe, as well. FPL Bricky, what about Palace assets in FanTeam this week? Mitchell and Guaita. Yeah. I don't like them as much defensively, although I've gone Guaita here because of the save points. But I do quite like them in an attacking sense this week. I feel like they could do something, and this is what I'm showing you here in this one. So what I've done with this one here is I've got my 2 City boys in there because I feel like that is a good 2 to have. I've also got 1.5 million in the bank, so I've got a bit to move around. I do like Son and Reguilon this week. I feel like Son is very well priced for a Wolves team that are still finding their feet. I feel like Reguilon's good as well. 7.8 million for a player that could get attack and returns, was getting forward against City, and also against Wolves, you fancy a clean sheet, I think. So I do quite like them as a stack this week. If you don't fancy Reguilon and you want to go Lloris, that's absolutely fine as well. I like that Wilson and St. Maximan stack again this week. I feel like Villa, I mean, they conceded 3 against Watford, so they're definitely not starting the season well. So Wilson and St. Maximan started very, very well against West Ham. And I feel like they're just so nicely priced. 7.6 million, 7.2 million. I don't think I'd be back in Newcastle defensively, but in an attacking sense, I do like that personally. So that's also one of the stacks I'm quite happy to go with. And then, as Bricky's just mentioned in the chat there, I've gone for the Crystal Palace stack. I've gone for Benteke, I've gone for Zaha, and I've gone for Guaita. I feel like they're nicely priced, and I feel like a lot of people are going to go for Brentford just because they did so well against Arsenal, but they're not going to win every game in the league. And I feel like Vieira is going to be using this attacking kind of style of play. They played Chelsea last game. They got annihilated, as I think a lot of people are going to do against Chelsea this year. So actually, I quite like Zaha and Benteke this week. Now, I've also then gone for the Brighton double up there of Dunk and Mopé. I feel like they're quite expensive for what they're going to give you. One thing that we say a lot at Draft Gym is try and think of their value is how many points they're going to get you back. So for every million, that's a point they should be getting you back. And when you look at this team, like De Bruyne, and he's my captain as well, he's going to be hopefully getting me more than 14, 15 points as my captain. But when you look at Mopé and Dunk, I mean, Dunk could get you that. Against Watford, he could get you an attack and return and a clean sheet. That's fine. But Mopé, you're looking at 10.5 million thinking he's going to have to be getting you 2 goals or a goal and an assist. And is he then worth that 10.5? Maybe not. But I do quite like the look of him compared to some other strikers this week. So he's worth having a look at. I don't mind the Brighton double up there, but it's maybe not my favourite. If we go back to my other entries now, I've got another entry here to show you. And this is my second entry. Sorry, it takes a while to get back to the normal things, doesn't it? I should probably just do it on the side, really. So my second one here is very different to my first entry, but you'll see that this is one of my first Man United entries, and it has no City, which again, like I said, I'm fading City in my Man United ones and I'm fading Man United in my City ones. I feel like that's the way to play it this week. Could be wrong, but I feel like that's the way to play it because you never know. Like if it happened 2 years ago, didn't it? City played Norwich beat them 3-2. It could happen with Southampton where United win 9-0, and if City then don't do as well against Southampton, then these teams are going to be absolutely blinding. So I quite like this team personally. I feel like this team's got a lot of what I want in it. It's got that triple Man United, Fernandes, Greenwood, Shaw, and actually I feel like that is a really good stack. Fernandes is going to be heavily captained this week. I feel like a lot of people are going to be captaining Fernandes as well because they might be a bit scared about captaining City, even though they're going to know the lineup. So I do quite like Fernandes there. I feel like the upside with Man United this week is massive. I feel like the fact that Southampton, if United score early, Southampton could just capitulate. We know they can as well. So I feel like Fernandes, Greenwood and Shaw there are quite good. 13.4 million, you're happy with that with Fernandes. Greenwood, he is more than capable of getting a brace, and Shaw is more than capable of getting you an attack and return as well. When you consider that Shaw and Dunk are practically the same price, who are you more likely to get an attack and return from? Probably Shaw. Will he like to get an attack and return against his old team? I fancy him to do that as well. He only got 1 point last week. Will he return a 9-pointer for us this week? He very well could, couldn't he? So then I've got Alonso and Chalobah at the back for Chelsea. Don't normally like doing a double up in defence, but actually I feel like for a team that is so good defensively, I don't mind them at all. Alonso, we know how good he is in an attacking sense. Chalobah played really well, and if he keeps his place, I feel like he's quite good. If we have a look on the side here, we can have a look at the actual Chelsea defenders, and this is where we're going to start talking about safety nets as well. So Alonso there, if he doesn't play, I get Azpilicueta. That's absolutely fine. So I feel like the gamble's there and I can take that with them. Yes, if Chilwell plays, that's a bit of a bummer. I don't think I'd be going for Chilwell. I'd be going for Alonso because that safety net's there. The only problem is, if you do go with Chalobah like me, there isn't much of a safety net there afterwards, unfortunately. Ampadu and Emerson, which, I mean, they're not going to be playing, are they? So if you add the extra 0.1 million, maybe you could go for Christensen or Rudiger, and then you could get the safety net of Chalobah if they don't play. I just like the idea of Chalobah. If he does play, he looked good going forward last week, and he looked full of confidence, didn't he? Which I think a lot of these Chelsea players have. I've also got a triple Brentford stack. This is just in case my Crystal Palace stacks kind of don't go anywhere. I feel like Raya, Mbeumo and Tony, lovely. Mbeumo looked really good. Tony looked really good. And I feel like Raya is actually somebody who it could go under the radar as a good defensive keeper to have. And then Bailey and Ings. I feel like Bailey is a better personal owner than Mbeumo, although, not Mbeumo, instead of Buendia, although Buendia is more expensive. So I quite like that. And Ings could have an absolute field day against Newcastle. Now, that is enough of me talking for a little bit. I'm now going to pass you over to the Siberian stack master, Alexei, who just literally has just come third in the Monster, pipped me to it. But he's going to talk you through his favourite stacks this week as well. This is one of my favourite bits of the week because I just get to sit back and listen. Enjoy.
Warm Siberian greetings to you, fantasy enthusiasts. Alexis here. And first of all, I want to congratulate my mate Andy, who finished 10th in the weekly monster last week. I didn't do too shabby either with my third place finish. A great start for the Draft Gym crew. And I'm happy to say that some of my recommended picks featured in both of our teams. So to this week then. This week there are so many double up and captaincy options. There are so many well-priced defenders with solid clean sheet potential. And this slate actually reminds me more of a championship event than the Premier League. Well, there are obvious captaincy contenders from City and United, and we have to have some cheaper options to afford them. So here are a few budget-friendly stacks for you guys. First of all, Chelsea, they have a 39% chance to keep a clean sheet playing Arsenal away. The Gunners were first for shots last week with 22, but only 4 of them were on target. They're clearly missing some of that attacking quality, and Lacazette and Aubameyang will most likely not feature again. So Alonso at 8.8 is a great pick with his set-piece duties, with 2 shots on target and 2 chances created in his first game of the season, a stunning free kick scored, of course, and Chalobah at 7.9 is a great enabler, a great stack price-wise. So moving on to Crystal Palace, of all the teams, I expect many players to be all over Brentford after their first victory of the season. But as I mentioned earlier, Brentford did concede 22 shots last week. So Crystal Palace are supposedly trying to play more attacking, fluid football now under the new manager. Well, here's a great chance to show it off in front of their fans. Zaha, of course, is their 19-minute talisman, plays full matches nearly every single time. And if Benteke fails to start, well, Jordan Ayew, who did play 90 minutes in his last game, will cover for him. Another team that can benefit from Wolves, in this case, more attacking approach is Tottenham. Well, Nuno Santo knows all the ins and outs of the Molineux, and Son is a great pick at 9.7, whether Kane starts or not. Mora played 90 minutes as well last match, creating 3 chances for 3 shots, one of which was on target, and I expect Tottenham to score at least once. In fact, they are projected to score 1.3 goals in this fixture. Be wary of Kane, of course. If Kane is believed to start, if he is fit to start at 9.9, he could be a great shout. But there are no solid safety net options to cover for him, so it is a risky move. It is. Well, don't forget there will be in-depth written previews. From me and my colleagues at Draft Gym for this week's Monster on Thursday and Friday. Don't miss it. Stop by, read them. Great stuff. Well, and I guess that's it for me. From Siberia with love, and I hand it over to Andy. Good luck.
There we are. What a man he is. What an absolute legend he is. Honestly, he's so good. When we were doing the Monster this week, obviously I was in first for quite a while, and I knew that Man City Spurs game was going to hurt me potentially, and I was just waiting for Man City to score, and I honestly thought it was going to happen, and it just didn't happen. I had Mahrez in FPL. I needed the Spurs clean sheet wipeout. Son obviously scored as well, and I was just looking at it thinking, I'm going to keep dropping it. I'm going to keep dropping it. Then those clean sheets came in and it was just like, oh, there we go. That's what was going to happen. So finishing 10th in the end. But I mean, Alexi's such a lovely guy. I was more than happy for him to finish third. Anyway, on to my last 2 entries now. So my third entry, and you'll see that they're all an iteration of each other now, really. So I'm not doing anything massively different anymore. I'm not going for massively different entries. I am just basing them all on the same kind of theme. You can see here I've got the triple Crystal Palace stack. I've got Benteke, Zaha and Guahi at the back as well. I've got De Bruyne and Cancelo in there. I've got Son and Reggie on as well. And then the only thing I've done a little bit different with this one is I have got double leads. I've got Bamford and Rafinha. And then I've also got Ben Rama and Fabianski. I feel like I've got the main thing there. The core is the same, but I've just gone for a little bit different around the edges, basically. And I feel like that's really how you have to play it when you've got multiple teams. And then on the last one I've got here, look, here we go. I have gone for... Oh, yeah, I've gone for a bit of a triple Everton in this one. So I've got triple Man United, I've got Greenwood, Fernandes, and I've got Maguire at the back instead. Scored a goal in pre-season, in a friendly midweek, didn't he? So he's not looking too bad. I've gone for triple Villa, Ings, Bailly, and Martinez. And then I've gone for triple Everton, Townsend, Calvert-Lewin, and Chalobah. And I've also got that... not Chalobah and Dean, and then I've got Chalobah and Alonso in there as well. So yeah, it's not looking too bad. I'm fairly happy with how they're looking at the moment. I think I might change some of the bits just a little bit. I feel like I might want to have a bit of a look at it soon, and might just think to myself, do I want to have Man United and then the Crystal Palace and Aston Villa stack, and then do I want to have Man United and the other 2 stacks that I've got, and then do I want to do the same with Man City? So I've basically got the same iteration. I'm just swapping around Man United and Man City. I could start doing that, but I just want to see how this works this week. Obviously, my confidence is at a bit of a high from last week, but I mean, whether that happens or not, I don't know. I've gone for Fernandes in both, and then I've gone for De Bruyne in both as well. Just because with 4, I feel like I don't want to be changing my captains too much. I feel like I'm quite happy doing it like this. FPL Penguins in the chat. Love FanTeam. Yeah, we all do, mate. We've also, I missed it as well, we've got Adam English in the chat as well. Evening, Adam English. So, and that is everything I wanted to talk about with the monsters this week. I am going to show you as well how I'm doing in the season long game too. I am rolling in all of my season long games at the moment because I feel like it's worth rolling in all your season long games. If I show you, here we are, look, season long games. So I am around 9,000th for most of them, 12,000th, and then 24,000th in one of them. That was the one I only had 5 of those. That was where I had Mane and Salah and didn't have Bruno. So I'm fairly happy with that. 92-ish. 88. I think that's fine. Then in none of them am I really that worried at the moment, but I'm rolling in pretty much all of them. If I just show you one of my ones, so this is my best one at the moment. Sanchez, White, Ayling, Tsimikas, Mahrez, Salah, Fernandes, Havertz. Havertz didn't start in that one, which is a bit of a bummer, wasn't it? Ings, Wilson, Antonio. So, I mean, that front three did very, very well. Basuma Semedo was a bit of an issue, and so was Bertrand as well. So some of my 4.5s that I thought were going to be brilliant have turned out not to be so much. So, but if we have a look at who is actually winning, so got 124 points in game week 1. Here we are. We can have a look at his team. I mean, his team was pretty much as perfect as you can get it, but even then he had Mane. So, if that was a Son, he'd be absolutely flying, wouldn't he? So, Antonio, Salah, Mane, Greenwood, Pulisic, Fernandes. I mean, you look at this team and he's going to be rolling next week, isn't he? Interesting, though, his bench is dreadful. So, yeah, really interesting there. Steve Irons, great show. Won £27 last week with your help. Cheers. No worries, mate. That's a great one, Steve Irons. I like that. 27 quid is not to be sniffed at all. I know Dan Curtis as well, who's in the chat. He won 27 quid on the Championship Monster midweek as well. So, fair play. Corf thought you won 27k last week. Yeah, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah, so in pretty much all of my entries, I am more than happy to just be still there. More than happy with that at the moment. It's 38 game weeks long. People are going to forget. People are going to make mistakes. So I'm more than happy with that at the moment. It looks obviously bad at the moment because it's all saying minus, but you need to be top 5,000 to be in the cash at the moment, don't you? So no, I'm more than happy with that. So yeah, I wish, Corf, says Steve Irons. This is your chance now. We've got our last kind of 5 minutes of the stream. Chuck your questions in. Ask me any questions you like. I really don't mind. I'm more than happy to answer any of them. If there's any dilemmas you've got, if there's any what do I do a season long, if there's anything you want to know about the monsters, anything like that, chuck them in and I'm more than happy to answer them. Noddy's Party says, great content, Andy. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Corf says, well in though. Yeah, well in, Steve Irons. Honestly, 27 quid. We were talking about this with Dan Curtis yesterday, saying that it doesn't matter. If you pay £2 for an entry and you get 27 back, that is such good return on investment. And then if you're only doing the £2 entries each time, you're loving life because you've then got another 13 entries you can do, which is exactly what you want. So 13 entries could last you to game week 13. You back yourself to get something like that again. I mean, I was talking to Corf the other day. Obviously, I won. It was my biggest win, £500. I was more than happy with that, finishing 10th. That literally bankrolls me almost the whole season. Absolutely brilliant. I can do 2 entries all season, pretty much. Well, for 25 game weeks of the season, and I'm done there. What I've done, you can see my bankroll there. I actually withdrew most of it because I just thought to myself, one thing that I've always wanted from this kind of betting game, and it is betting, obviously. One thing I've always wanted is to make sure that if I win money, I make the most of the money, and I withdraw it as well. So I always make sure I withdraw some. Flapjack's in the chat. Oi, oi, did we discuss Cock's impact on Rafinha? No, but God, wasn't Cock bad last week? Jesus Christ. Leeds, like defensively, they were not the same team. They looked really poor. I thought they were going to be a bit more resolute, but obviously we weren't expecting Phillips to be out, and defensively they looked very, very poor. Ayling, though, finally got that attack and return, which was worth mentioning. Apoku Prince, wow, will like the differentials. Yeah, definitely. FPL Finn, evening FPL Finn. Thanks for joining us. Daniel Curtis says, definitely well played, Steve. Yeah, definitely, mate. Honestly, this is the kind of stuff we want. By the way, if you're not involved yet, we've got a Twitter group that's literally we just chat about FanTeam in there, and we keep track of everybody's winnings. We have our group winnings at the top. I think we're over 1k now with winnings this year. Mainly because, I mean, obviously I had a good one this week. Ninja as well that's in there. He knows his stuff with FanTeam, so make sure you're following him if you're not already as well. But you're more than welcome to join that group chat if you want to. Talk to me, talk to Corf. We're more than welcome to have you in that draft gym chat. Yeah, so like I said, chuck your questions in. I'm just going to be scrolling through some of my teams really. You'll notice with my teams, I always try and get 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. That is what I want all the time. If you think defenders and goalkeepers can be 10 million, I don't really want that. I want to be maybe having one of them, but then I want to be investing in my midfield and strikers. Jordi Vanderlaan, evening. He was in my DMs not too long ago talking about FanTeam. Good lad. Hi Andy, Yoki here. What are your thoughts on Emil Smith Rowe in the Monster this week? 6.5 million. I love Smith Rowe, but I mean, he's a great price there, 6.5 million, but do I fancy him against Chelsea? No. If we go back to here, look, I mean, Chelsea are so high up there in terms of 45% chance of a clean sheet, 55% chance of winning, and 1.62 goals on average they think they're going to score. If we look at Arsenal there, 21% chance of a win, hardly any chance of a clean sheet, 24%, and then they're expected to score less than a goal. And that's where I start to worry about Smith Rowe, because this Chelsea team is very, very good. It doesn't matter who's playing. They're a system team. They're very, very good. And if Lukaku's playing, I mean, they're just going to get bullied off the park, aren't they? They're going to be so lightweight in this team. So I love Smith Rowe's value there. And maybe if you're doing multiple entries, you could have a bit of an Arsenal team there because they're going to be so well placed value-wise. But I don't like them myself personally. They haven't been in any of my drafts, and I've got 4 of them. So maybe that tells you a little bit. But yeah, good question there. I like it. Steve Iron says, is everyone doing a late reg in the main game? I think it should be thought about, personally. I really do. I think you start on 79 points, I think it is. So if we look at 79 points and where that would put me, so the 79 points would put me around there, wouldn't it? So that would put me above 5 of my teams. So I think it's worth doing. I have done an article, which I was talking about earlier, all about how you should set up your team if you're doing late registration. Really worth having a look at. I know it sounds like I'm just plugging my own stuff, but it is genuinely worth looking at to see what players you should target if you're doing a late registration team, because you are going to get such a massive advantage. You're basically getting another wild card. You're basically starting off on average, 95% on average. You're getting another wild card. You'll still get another wild card before before the middle of the season anyway. Yeah, honestly, a lot of people should be doing it. I am tempted. I think I will as well put another 5 teams in late reg. It is genuinely a really good tactic to do. Let's just go back to my monsters before I answer any more questions. Core FPL. Similar to FPL, I think we need to roll in FanTeam if we can this week. Game week 4 could be a nightmare. Yeah, I am rolling in every one of my season long teams. I don't care. I've looked at my teams. I can get 11 out. I'm just rolling in all of them, to be honest. I think having two free transfers is going to be gold. There are going to be people in FanTeam that take hits. I think there's around, I can't remember how many they got in the end. It was about 30,000 people I think they got. But they're not all going to be good managers, and they're not all going to be on Twitter. They're not going to know what they're doing, some of them, and some of them are going to take hits. So if you're banking a transfer, you can get 11 out, then lovely. The only way I can imagine people using transfers is if they've got somebody that's got injured. Someone like Gundogan was a bit of a worry, but I'd probably hold him if I had him. Harold Chung, evening mate. Andy, do you reckon Amati will still start ahead of Vestergaard? I don't, unfortunately. I think Vestergaard's probably going to come in quite quickly. It could be that Amati starts this week. I don't see it though. I think Vestergaard's going to come straight in. If anybody in the chat knows for definite there, definitely let us know. But I would have thought Vestergaard would come in personally. Steve Irons, Core 5 teams, 3 in the money, but I'm rolling all 5. Yeah, good shout. Definitely good shout. By the way, as well, it's so early. It is game week 1. Like, you're looking at mine. I've got none in the money at the moment, but I am not worried at all. With 37 game weeks left. So just keep steady, keep calm, keep doing what you're doing. Just stay template to begin with. I know it sounds boring. Stay template. Don't go for risky differentials. There will be people that went risky game week 1 and maybe did really, really well. There are people that I've seen that are near the top in the top 10 that got Alonso in. They got players in where you just think, oh, that's a risk. And honestly, they are the people that will start dropping off eventually because they're not thinking long term. Just go template, be happy, make sure you're close enough, and then you can start differentiating as the season goes on. But I just feel like that risk is maybe not worth doing at the moment. By the way, if people are wondering and they've only just come in, that isn't my season long team. That is my one of my monsters this week. Right, I think we are probably going to have to love you and leave you now. Thank you very much, everybody that's in the chat and everybody that's asked questions. It's been lovely to have a really interactive chat tonight. Good luck this week with the monsters. Honestly, we've said this before. Everybody at Draft Gym wants to know how well you're getting on. We want to know whether our content is helping you. One of the best things I ever see is when people get in the chat and they say, oh, I won this money because of you. And that is honestly, that's what we want to see all the time. We are making content knowing that it's going to make our lives harder because we're against you every week, but we want people winning as much money as possible. There's enough money to go around, so make sure you're letting us know because we really want to know. So from me and from everybody at Draft Gym as well, we wish you really good luck this week. We hope you do well in the Monster, hope you do well in the season long as well, and we will be seeing you soon. Thank you very much, and oi oi.